Hello, everyone. Welcome to Dropped Frames Kawaii Edition. I'm JP McDaniel. Co, what episode are we on?
Today is, let's see, 2216.
2216. Thank you very much, Co. We've got Adam Coble to talk Weeb games with Zeke because he found his one true love in Persona 5 this year. Took him all year to find it, literally, but he found it. Me and Co have been...
Listen, man. I never saw it coming.
Yeah? Well, you never do. Also,
You never see it coming.
Never do. That's right.
I get it.
Yeah.
That's a good joke.
Jesus. Also, me and
I've
Co...
been dealing with that joke for the past week.
Really?
Everybody
Yeah.
You just been
thinks
saying
that's
that?
like the fucking cleverest thing ever.
I thought it was much funnier the second time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think you said the same joke yesterday on.
Oh, yeah.
Cross Swords. Yeah.
I'll keep saying it.
Yep. Me and Co are once again addicted. I'm real addicted. So much so that it was midnight last night. Let's just log in and see if I get any tells. See if anyone wants to, trade some stuff. About 2.5 hours later. Oh fuck! What have I done? And I just had to crawl to bed because I was the guy from South Park. I was full on like this, just
Oh boy.
just like water. Let's get some water.
Potato chips just falling on the front there.
Yeah, I brushed off the Cheeto dust from my stomach. It was bad. It was bad. But we'll talk about that.
Playing like one of the perfectest builds for just face rolling, though. So that's
Oh,
that's
I know.
great.
I just hold
I
down right
imagine
click.
you with that look, and then on your screen, all you're doing is spinning around and moving. That's it. So you're just like,
Pretty
you
much.
barely even need to pay attention, just clicking. Oh.
Pretty much. We'll get to Path of Exile soon. I also played a bunch more Xenoblade. That game is, Persona 5. We talked about it yesterday. Persona 5 is like this cool, hip, stylish weeb anime. No. Xenoblade is the purest form of JRPGs, and I want to talk about it a little bit in a
It's
little while.
distilled weebism.
It's just like, man. I think Bike finished it as well. And
I saw like 3 streams of him trying to.
It never really ends, apparently. It just does the weeb thing of just like, well, now you're fighting Earth and stuff like that. It just gets crazy.
You've beaten Earth? Oh, great. Now for the final boss, Apathy.
Yeah, exactly. And then, I don't know, I think we all played Monster. Adam, did you play Monster Hunter?
I did. I managed to get in right at the end of the beta.
Okay, let's start with Monster Hunter then, because I think that's probably at least the newest game and the game that people are probably wanting to hear our opinions about. I'll be real honest, and I think me and Co said this multiple times when we were playing the other day. I was kind of blown away by the game. I went in expecting it to be a Monster Hunter game, expecting to enjoy it, and I was met by a Monster Hunter game that actually has decent graphics and a ton of systems
Oh my god,
in it.
that's the first thing I said too. I was like, holy shit, it's amazing to see this in a resolution that isn't 640 by 480. Like it was crazy. I was like, wow, it's really beautiful. Like the designs, if you look at their concept art, if you look at any of the supplementary material, all of the stuff that Monster Hunter has ever had has been really cool and interesting to look at. And then you actually play the game and you're like, it's like a calculator. I'm playing this on a graphing calculator. But this was the first time that I ever saw it and was like, wow, it's moving around and I'm doing things and it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious because I think out of all of us, and by the way, Zeke, did you touch Monster Hunter? Did you watch streams of it or anything, or were you just not interested?
No, I have not touched it, watched it, nothing. And
Okay.
why am I huge now?
I don't know why you're huge. Adam was huge as well. I'll resize in just a sec.
Okay.
But Co, I'm interested to hear your opinion on it because you had never touched a Monster Hunter game
Nope.
up until this point at all. And so now that you have, what are your thoughts on I can't really say the Monster Hunter franchise because they're so different from this game, but what are your thoughts on Monster Hunter World?
So here's the progression that I went through. So I've never played a Monster Hunter, like JP said. I started with a game called Dauntless. And I played Dauntless, and everyone told me, like, this is kind of like what Monster Hunter is. And I played Dauntless, and I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of fun. Like, I see why people like the franchise, right? It's kind of cool, right? And everyone's like, yeah, just wait until Monster Hunter Worlds, though. And I was like, okay. So then I played Monster Hunter Worlds, and I played it. I did one mission solo, and then I jumped in with Bikeman, JP, and Lyric. And the best way I can say about my experience with it is I accidentally played an hour and 20 minutes longer than I should have, and my wife had to come over to me, literally drag me off the computer in front of 16,000 people. And while we're fighting this epic fight, I just have to go, hey, sorry guys, gotta go.
Man. And I didn't tell you
Feeling
this.
like the biggest jackass that Twitch has ever had on, live. So here's what it comes down to. Having played Dauntless and playing Monster Hunter, I was absolutely blown away by Monster Hunter. Even by the end of the almost 5 hours I played it, I was still seeing new things. The mechanics in this game, there's some things that I've never seen in other games. They all look like they're intuitive and work together. Tons of items, 14 different weapon types, all with tons of combos. I tried like 6 different weapons, didn't even feel like I scratched the surface with any of them in terms of using them effectively and using them well.
Yeah.
I was blown away by this game. And in the one session I played it, I did everything there was to do in beta. I mean, hell, me, you, JPR group, we sat there doing optional bosses for like an hour and a half, just messing around and having fun.
Yep.
And dude, by the time I was done, I not only knew that I didn't have to play again for beta, but I knew that I'm sold on this game. This is nothing like Dauntless at the end of the day. And this is one of the few games that I plan on playing on console when it comes out. And then I probably will play again on PC.
Yeah.
Just because I have to say, I played, when you start this up on a PS4, you get 3 options. You get performance, balance, and you get pretty. And I picked performance. And even on performance, I don't feel like it ran super well. There were certainly times when it was dragging. And the entire time, I was just sitting here going like, this could be so pretty. Max graphics at 60.
Well, we were doing
FPS,
the
or even
Destiny
more,
thing.
Like desync.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah. So I have to say that the PS4 Pro version is good. It's definitely more than playable. It's a great console version. But I am excited to see what this is going to look like on a high-end PC because it's already gorgeous.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a big game that I think is going to last probably many years if they keep supporting it. It's something special.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. By the way, when you ended up leaving, I can hear myself, and you got to turn your speakers down, so I can't talk. Yeah, I think so. It's still kind of faintly there. When you ended up leaving, when you got wife aggro, that was the closest we ever got to killing that boss. We fought it for another 3 hours.
I'm so sorry, man. Like, it was totally my fault. Like, I was supposed to get off an hour and 20 minutes earlier and watch my kid so my wife could go do things. So she was super patient. And finally, she just walked in and she's like, I'm going to need you to go ahead and log off right now. I was just like, understood.
Yeah.
Thank you for your patience.
Yeah, we ended up fighting that thing, me, Lyric, and Bike, for about another 2, maybe 3 hours. And I think we never had this confirmed.
Which fight was this, JP? What were you hunting?
We were fighting
was this
the
Rathalos?
Rathalos, yeah, the Rathalos.
Yeah. Fuck.
We were fighting the Rathalos, and we never got a 4th member. And in other Monster Hunter games, when you grouped up, it was either the monster was the power of a 1v1, like queuing as a solo person, or queuing as 4. And we never could figure out, and we never had it confirmed, if we were fighting a boss with 3 people when you needed 4, or if we were fighting a boss with 3 people when it's made for 3 people, in that sense.
So the little NPC character didn't jump in the 4th?
He was only jumping in when there was only 2 people.
They only jump in. The felines only jump in with 2. So when you 2v1 the monsters, it's 2 players, 2 felines. But that was what my chat was like the whole time, because I did a 2-player stream with a friend of mine, and we were doing the same thing. We spent most of the stream fighting the 2 optional bosses, and the chat was all just like talking about and debating whether it scaled based on 2 or 4.
Yeah.
And I don't know, because I feel like I'm a pretty experienced Monster Hunter player. So was my friend. We were playing it, and we were getting our asses kicked by those things.
Yeah.
So I think I want to say, and this might just be my like ego, like, oh yeah, we're taking on a 4-player one. I think that it scales for 4, but I don't know. I mean, there's no official word on it.
Did you guys beat him, Adam?
No, fuck no.
Yeah, I saw.
We tried. We got close. We got really close, but we couldn't take him down.
Let me skip to that part of the.
Now let me ask you this: when you say you're fighting at the same thing for hours at a time, is it like a Dark Souls thing where you go to the thing and fight and you die and you have to keep going back?
So Monster Hunter has a thing, and the demo. Sorry, the beta. The demo is a it's a bit misleading because in Monster Hunter normally you get 50 minutes to complete a hunt, right? So it gives you almost an hour, and it says, okay, go out and kill this monster or harvest this part or do whatever, capture this monster, or you can die 3 times. But for some reason in the beta they flip it so that you can die like 9 times, but you only have 20 minutes. And so fighting this monster for whatever 4 hours is 4 hours in 20-minute or 9 life chunks.
Yeah.
So it's not all one long fight. You'll die a bunch of times, take it on again. You'll run out of time, take it on again. And what's tough about it is that in Monster Hunter there's no health bar on the monster. It's all visual cues. So some monsters, when you beat them up, will go into an enrage near the end of their life. Some will limp away and try to escape, depending on the monster's like personality. And you have to learn the cues to know, like, okay, we're close. He's starting to limp. Switch to this other tactic, and then you have to chase them down. Or you can see them like flip out, and then you have to kind of go defensive to finish it off. But you're still on that 20-minute timer.
Yeah.
So it's got to be like the worst thing in the fucking world after fighting a boss and then like getting him down, and then they run away and they escape.
Yes.
Yeah, and they
that
can't
sounds
really,
fucking awful.
There's things
So
to stop that though in the main game.
yeah.
Okay.
So what's worse than them escaping is that like they can't get away, right? There's no like monster ran away, you can't get him. You can chase them around the map all you want, but sometimes they can burrow into the ground and pop up somewhere else. Sometimes they'll go to sleep. Some of them can heal. Some of them self-heal. So they'll go to an area with like herbivores and they'll kill them and they'll eat them and they'll recover their health. So like JP said, you can shock trap them or you can paralyze them to help keep them from escaping. But yeah, it's very different. And coming from just recently I've been playing Bloodborne again, and I went into this and I was like, yeah, I got iframes and rolling and all this, and does not work that way.
Yeah.
There's a lot of the monster knocks you down. You start to get up, it kills you, and you're like, okay,
Oh
cool.
my god!
The
I thought I was
there
doing
a-
something wrong for the longest time because of that.
Is there a class system like support, tank, healer?
Not outright, but there are basically classes that are designated by the weapons that you use.
So, like, for
Okay.
instance, a bike man was using this kind of crazy 2-bladed staff that came with this like poison bug thing.
Let
And
me
what he
pull
could
up
do
the
is he
stream.
could actually cue up these like song type of things, almost like a bard, and he would actually buff the party and things like that. There's
Okay.
also, there's actual guns. There's guns and bows, so you can be like a ranged person, kind of sitting back and using different types of ammo and stuff. There's really slow axes. There's weapons that apparently are better at chopping off parts but don't do as much
Yes.
damage, and there's
Yeah,
weapons
yeah.
that are the opposite of that. And cutting
So
off parts. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say the thing that I miss the most playing this is that it doesn't really give you the feeling of it's like a highlights reel of playing Monster Hunter, because when you really start Monster Hunter, you get basically like a core version of every weapon that's like they're all kind of crappy, so that you can try them all out, and then you find the weapon you like, and then you can craft versions of that weapon by hunting monsters. And it isn't just about hunting them and killing them. Sometimes you have to trap them, sometimes you have to break off their tail or their horns or their claws.
Yeah.
Not just because you want to make them less effective, though that does happen, but because you need those to make the weapon that you want. And different weapons, like if you have the hammer, it's better at breaking off scales than say an axe for cutting off tails. It's super fun, and that's the thing that I really like about Monster Hunter. And what I'm excited about for the full game is that start at the bottom, work your way up, pick the weapons and armor you need for the next hunt, craft them by fighting the same monsters, and not only living within that time frame of hunting them, but knowing the parts that you need and building your tactics around. I'm going to only attack its tail, because if I kill it by
Right.
hitting its head too often, well,
You're not going to get the item. Yeah.
yeah, you won't get to hit them exactly.
How does aggro work? Like, are there abilities that like taunt and stuff like that can pull aggro? And that
Not
kind of stuff?
necessarily. It a lot of it's just based on like you're basically doing it's like if you play co-op Dark Souls, right? That's that's how it feels in terms of like how aggro works or how the damage works. Like everyone at the same time has to like watch the boss for the tells of like, oh, he's about to charge, we need to spread out, or oh, that tail's about to swing, I got to go to the side, etc.
They added some new items.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's some
yeah.
combos that have like the lance and the shield, and
There
the
is.
sword and the shield, and I think you can do. And chat was actually mentioning this too. I think there's some aggro mechanics that you can do with those.
Okay, yeah.
Adam, you may know more.
I didn't test
Yeah,
it
they
too much.
They added a subset of items that I've never seen. None of the Monster Hunter games that I've played have had them. They're like mantles or cloaks, and some of them give you bonuses to defend against certain things. You trigger them, they last a while, and then they kind of oblate. One of them is like an aggro mantle, where you make yourself all big and colorful, and it creates an opportunity for the monster to come after you. And I think that there are a few items that have progression in the game is all around the items. Your character never gets any better. Your armor and weapons that you pick, you create a set, and you can aim for particular stuff. So if you want to kill something really fast, you pick all the armor and the weapon that have bonuses to damage, like attack bonuses. But you can also pick to do, like, I think aggro is one of those things.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of custom that stuff.
So all of the progression as far as character wise in the game is not level based; it's equipment based.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm real curious to see too once the full game comes out, because 20 minutes I think is in other Monster Hunter games, and Adam, correct me if I'm wrong, they would just be like an hour. Like you would have an hour or 45 minutes to defeat a lot of the mobs, and so I'm hoping that this was just stuff that was in the beta because it was was not a beta. What are they calling it, Adam? A demo?
It's a beta.
Yeah. Okay.
Technically, it's a beta, but it feels a lot more like a "Hey, buy this game" demo.
Right. Yeah, because it told you to buy it every time you would exit out.
Actually, I think technically it's a vertical slice because it's pretty much everything that's going to be in the game.
Aside from the crafting
because
stuff.
the beta would assume that there would still be gameplay components that are under development.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the case. I think it's a pretty much finished product.
Yeah. I would agree.
Yeah, it's the same thing that EA and those guys do.
Yeah, it's interesting because I feel like playing it coming from an experienced Monster Hunter player background. It's not really the full game. Like it didn't feel to me like playing Monster Hunter feels. It felt like if they made if they made a Final Fantasy demo and it's like, you get 3 fights. You fight Ifrit, you fight Shiva, and you fight Bahamut at 3 different like levels. And then that's the beta. You don't get to actually do any of the other progression or leveling or any of the stuff that can sometimes make the game feel like a grind. Like it definitely, when you're like, all right, I need another Jaggy frill. I fought 7,000 Jaggies. Yeah. Here we go. It can be a little tedious, but I also like really miss that. Like it feels like a big part of the game that people are going to miss out on if this is their first Monster Hunter.
Well, Sam had like a mantra that I don't know if it's from like the Monster Hunter community, and I got to remember exactly the phrases that he used, but it was like kill, collect, create, and then like that's the loop. I think is what he was saying. That's the loop of Monster Hunter, and like in this beta demo, whatever, the loot and create was not there. Like you didn't get the like, fuck yeah, I got this amazing new hammer. Let's see how much faster we kill this mob now that I have this new weapon. Like that idea of like growing in power was not there, which I think is pretty important.
Combat demo.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Not to say there wasn't crafting though. We didn't really utilize it, and Bikeman was actually telling me this after the fact. Apparently there is auto crafting in the game that you can set to auto craft potions, which for Monster Hunter vets is like a godsend, because it used to be, I'm going to go collect some herbs, I'm going to go collect some honey, and then I'm going to go back to town and combine these two things. Now when you collect them, it just makes the potion for you. It just auto crafts it goes in your inventory.
So what's so weird about the crafting in Monster Hunter is that you have a limited number of slots in your inventory to carry stuff. So you would get like 5 slots for a regular potion, 5 slots for a max potion, and 5 for a super potion. But you could also carry 5 each of the materials to make all of those things. So if you get an opportunity, you have to go in and trap a monster. You can only bring in 3 traps. Use those. You don't do it, you're screwed. Start the mission over. But you could also bring 3 each of the 6 things used to make 3 more traps. So when you run out of traps, you can make more. So in this weird, very Japanese like inventory management thing has been, like JP said, changed now so that you can tell it, if I have enough honey and enough potions, as soon as I pick up the honey, make the potion for me, which is cool. There's a lot of quality of life improvements in this game that, like every time you have a game that gets quality of life improvements, and we can talk about this more when we get to Persona, there's a group of people who are like, yay, now I don't have to worry about that horse shit anymore. And there's a group of people who are like, this isn't my Monster Hunter. It was hard when I played it.
Yeah. Well, it's already happening in chat right now. But, I think at the end of the day, Capcom and the suits, if you will, of the company, they want to get this to the biggest audience as possible. And I think they did a fantastic job with what I played. Like, I didn't see anyone, at least in my chat when I was playing this, being like, man, this game looks boring. Or it was like, oh, fuck, I need to download this right now and play before the beta goes offline. Everyone was like super. It's very rare to see a game that isn't like super polarizing on Twitch for both your audience and for streamers. Everyone that played it, I can't think of a streamer that didn't like it. Strippin enjoyed it. Me, Bike, Co, Lyric all enjoyed it. Adam seems like he enjoyed it. Like everyone is pretty fucking into it and can't wait for the release.
Well, I think for both streamers and viewers, it surpassed expectations.
It did, yeah.
I mean, everyone knew that it was going to be a Monster Hunter, so they knew it was probably going to be at least good. But then we all played it and saw it, and we were like, "Holy shit! Like this is real good! Like this is not like just the next Monster Hunter. This is like from the looks of it, from what I've seen, and from what you guys are saying, it's like the next generation of Monster Hunter. It's like a big leg up.
Yeah.
So yeah, oh man, I can't wait to get my hands on it. I mean, the thing that I'm wondering about now is, from what I've played, like you could play the demo for easily 20 hours if there was like hubs and crafting and like with just that one map, running around that one map and doing stuff. So it makes me wonder, like, what kind of time are we going to be able to put in when this game comes out?
A lot.
Is this going to be the kind of thing where people are going to be spending
it's like
hundreds of hours?
Yes, it's Path of Exile addicting. Like the second that you're able to get loot and see like progression in gear and items, you want to be like, all right, well, I got to go kill that fucking mob 4 times. Let's go. Yeah. And then you're like, oh, fuck, that unlocked the next set. Oh, my God, look at that. It does so much more damage. Okay, let's kill that 6 times. Like,
the thing that I think is really addictive about it is a thing that also I think makes it really great to stream for audiences because of that 50-minute timer. So if you tune in to a Monster Hunter stream and you don't know what's going on, you're only maximum going to be like 49 minutes away from the beginning of this thing happening, and you'll get a new chapter, basically.
Yeah.
So these hunts, they self-contain in little 50-minute blocks. So you could play it for whatever, 12 hours, and anyone tuning in at any time wouldn't be that far away from like the beginning of a new thing. They'd be able to tune in from the start of at least your next hunt, which I think makes it a really good show venue, right, for streaming, which is super cool.
Yeah, and the other stuff too, Co, that you didn't really get a chance to see in this because it was only, I don't know, 5 or 6 different monsters. Is I'm assuming just like in some of the other games, the fights get like unbelievably epic because the mobs that you're fighting are just, they start doing crazy fucking things. Like there'll be like a swipe where if it hits you, you're dead. You're just gonna die. You have to dodge the swipe from this mob or you're just dead in one hit. And that's where like the lives start playing in. And also in some other fights. Did you ever look up the Jen Moran video, Co, that I was talking about the other day? Oh, yeah. Let me see if I can pull something up. Just so you can kind of see what that looks like.
I gotta say though, man, just from the demo, like the first time that dragon just came out of the ground when we were shooting those birds.
Yeah, that was
cool.
And
then the first time that we were up fighting the dragon at the top and that wall broke. Holy shit, man. Like that was nuts. I remember just sitting there kind of like panning my camera back and forth to that water. Like, what is going on here? We were like 2 feet from it.
I was blown away. I was blown away by the interactions between the monsters too. I remember the first time I was fighting the Baroth, and then that other like fish guy comes up, and they start fighting each other, and they all have special animations against one another. And you can, if you're having a hard time fighting a monster, you could lure another one to come in and fight it, and then pick at them while they're fighting each other. It's great.
So
it's super cool.
This is I'm just gonna give them a shout out because hopefully they don't claim this. This is from Teamwork Cast on YouTube. If you want to watch the full video. This is from Monster Hunter Tri Co. And it's called the Jen Moran fight. You're on a boat in the Sand Sea, and you have to use this harpoon to shoot. Well, fuck, that's kind of a weird view. But basically to shoot this giant... I'll just wait for it to pop up. They're waiting for this creature to pop up out of the sand because you have to harpoon, which then connects it to the side of the boat, and then everyone jumps on the back of this giant fucking creature and starts picking at its scales. There it is, trying to get into its body so that it can do damage. So now they're jumping over on this thing. They're going to have to climb up on top of it and go to the specific area to do damage to it. But like this type of stuff that I can't wait to see what they do in Monster Hunter because it's going to look a billion times better than this. And they're going to be able to do so many more epic things with that amount of like just bandwidth, graphics bandwidth.
Watching this fight makes me super happy that lice don't know how to use swords.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
This is a view of the human body magnified 27,000 times.
Yeah.
So you're saying in this game you're gonna be like fucking Muad'Dib and like
Yeah.
ride the worm.
Here's a better view. This is when you fight him on ground, just how big this thing is. Like
Monster Hunter,
That's
the
his-
sleeper must awaken.
that's his arm.
Exactly.
That's like one of his arms, and he's just fucking gigantic. So I'm
This
hoping
is like
some
a
of that
Shadow of
stuff.
the Colossus fight.
Yeah. I'm hoping some of that stuff is in world, but
That's cool.
there's a
Real
ton of
cool.
fights like this that you can go and this is from Monster Hunter 3U, which was I think.
And
the
this
Wii
is
U
on
game.
like Game Boy, right?
This was on the on the Wii U. Yeah.
This was the TI-82 version. Yeah.
Pretty much
Oh,
every
this is on the Wii U though.
yeah, pretty much every
Okay, so it
Monster
wasn't
Hunter.
console. I thought Monster Hunter were primarily mobile games.
No, well, they're portable games.
I mean, not mobile, but like handheld.
yeah,
Sorry.
it was originally on the 3DS and they upscaled it to the Wii U.
The original mobile game.
Yeah.
A Game Boy.
Okay.
It's been primarily
They were-
Vita and Nintendo devices. There's a couple PC stuff, like there's Monster Hunter Frontier, which I think is a Chinese game, or originally released in China. That
Monster Hunter has been all over the damn place.
Yeah.
Like you could pretty much pick a console and there's been a Monster Hunter game for it. But yeah, in my experience, the ones that I played the most were the DS ones.
and that's why they're so addicting, right? Because you could play on the train, you could jump in and do
Right,
a
50 you get a
50-minute
50-minute
mission.
Yeah.
And like kill whichever you wanted, and okay, I'm at my destination. Let's put that back in my pocket and continue on.
Now, this game seems like it focuses primarily on like combats and like boss battles, quote unquote. Is there any sort of story? Or
Yes and no. There's a story that basically says, "Hey man, these monsters are attacking us. You gotta go kill them." And you're like, "All right,
Oh,
I guess
okay.
I'll go hunt some monsters." And
Yeah.
then you go and hunt some monsters.
There are like quests, but really they're just I'm gonna teach you how to play the game. Like, the village is hungry. You should go get us 10 fish. Yeah, you got us 10 fish. Now we need 10 leathers.
I'll
But
pull up-
really, it's just teaching you how to fish and harvest leather.
I'll pull up the
Gotcha.
quote story trailer that was at the Game Awards last week, so you can kind of get a sense of like what the fuck it's gonna be. But it's pretty basic. If anything, this just highlights like the environments. Like I see this stuff and I'm like, God, that fucking looks so cool. Like it looks like a fucking high res Monster Hunter, which is everything I've ever wanted. It looks good.
Yeah, it
That's
looks
all.
good.
I'll get that.
Yeah, go ahead and get that. Yeah. I should probably look.
So,
Right back.
can I play this solo and it still be a great experience?
Yeah, dude, I played the first 2 or 3 missions completely by myself. You get a little companion cat creature thing that you can actually equip and spec. So he will actually like be there helping you and doing stuff while you're playing solo. And the monsters also the difficulty scales. So you can play this entire game solo and never play with another person and have just as much fun if that's your jam. From what I've seen.
Don't worry,
from
Zeke.
what I've seen.
Don't worry, Zeke. I'll play with you.
Hey, thanks, buddy.
Zeke, you asked if you could play this solo, is what you said.
Yeah.
I think that one of the best parts, at least for me, it's always been with Monster Hunter, like you can play completely solo, and then the second someone says, "Hey, I want to play," you just group up with them, and then your character just works like online. Like it
And then
works
I
so
asked
well with
that
like
not
drop
be-
in, drop out.
Oh, it does. Okay, good.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah, you just join up with
No,
someone
I-
and just queue for a mission, and you're good to go.
The reason why I ask is not because like I have no friends. It's because scheduling a time to do shit is fucking
Oh, it's a nightmare.
especially with
That's
streamers.
harder than having friends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it is. So yeah, I think we're all super impressed. It's the first big release of I think 2017 that a lot of people, at least that I can think of, now that Ni no Kuni 2 got delayed to March or something like that. This is the big game for me, at least start of the year. I think it comes out the 27th is when it launches. Is that correct?
26,
PS4.
I think.
For PS4.
PS4.
Yeah. Yeah, and the PC version is still to be determined. They haven't pinned anything to that, right? Yeah.
Oh my god,
have-
that PC version is gonna be fucking. If it's like this, but on PC with the graphics and all that shit.
Yeah. 2018.
It would
whatever.
be a crime if they capped this at 60 on PC. Like it would be a crime. I really hope we aren't going to see a bad port. But they haven't, yeah, like KP said, like they've confirmed there's going to be a PC version, but we don't even have a release date for it yet.
Yeah.
People are saying like summer or maybe even holidays of
Yeah.
next year.
And I would also think everything you're seeing in these videos, like they want to showcase the game the best it's going to look. This has to be like PC footage. It just had like it's not higher FPS, but I'd be surprised if this is like all captured on console. But also, there's Mega Man in the game, so you could just
What the fuck is this? This is horse shit.
There's Mega Man and there's Aloy on the PS4 version.
Yeah,
too.
there's Aloy. Yeah. You can play as Aloy if you want.
You play as Aloy.
Hey, I love me some Aloy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck
Mega
this
Man,
Mega
come
Man
on,
shit
dude.
is.
Are you fucking serious with the Mega Man shit? They made it like
So-
pixel. It looks so out of place. It looks like a fucking mashup.
They
video.
do that a lot,
So this-
though, man.
That's a very Japan thing. Monster Hunter is both incredibly prevalent in Japanese like gamer culture. It's like huge there, and like a lot of Japanese games, is cross promoted like crazy. So there's lots of other games. You know, there's Monster Hunter pachinko parlors. The idea of Monster Hunter and other brands crossing over is like very, very normal in Japan. So
Yeah.
Mega Man being in it, people would be like, oh, of course, right? Like, what's your own? But
Sure, I mean,
over
yeah, I
here,
understand.
yeah, it's very much because I also feel like that. I'm not gonna use Mega Man because it looks pretty stupid, but I think it's to be expected
Yep.
for a game.
Just saying, the idea of being Ken in Monster Hunter and doing that dragon uppercut under that's not a bad. I could do that. I could do that. They want to do some cross promotion. Let's bring in some fighter characters, start doing cool moves on them.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Like, it's not that I don't mind crossovers. Like, you saw how excited I was for Aloy and shit. It's that I want the look of the thing to fit. Like, I would love to see a Monster Hunter Mega Man, like with the graphics and the style, and like make him all like, you know, like a hunter. Make him, you know, still Mega Man, but look like he belongs in the fucking world.
Right. Right.
You know what though?
Yeah, that makes
the
sense.
problem though with that would be then the second you cross that barrier where he's not instantly recognizable, then that crossover starts to become less of a thing. Like, it's almost like they're chained and having to make it look as classic and unique as possible. Honestly, that's probably why he stands out so much, because they want to be like, crossover, look, crossover. So,
Yeah.
like,
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. But yeah, you know, as long as it's all fun and games, which I mean, that's, you know, as long as they aren't taking themselves too seriously, it's not a big deal.
They've never really done
That's
that.
fine.
Yeah.
No, Monster Hunter is a very goofy like game line.
It's-
It doesn't take itself seriously at all.
It's pretty funny because for the longest time, like the cats were kind of just a joke, and they're like, well, I guess we can work these guys into the game and like try to figure out a proper. Oh, okay, now they're farmers. Now you can have the cats farm and like give you honey and stuff. And now it's like, oh, now the cat, you know, joins you in fights and you can give it equipment and, you know, it's an evolution, I think, of the entire game for sure.
So
I can't wait.
Describe the motivation to keep coming back, to keep playing. If there's no story, like to get to an eventual end, what's the drive?
New monsters.
New monsters for World, the old monsters, but they actually look good. Like, they don't look like N64 graphics. So seeing that, new weapons and armor, the crafting grind, right? The like, what kind of new shit can I build? Gear progression, and like finding secret stuff, right? Finding hidden monsters, uncovering all that bullshit, because there's always new stuff like that in every game.
And also, kind of going back to what JP said earlier, I'm sure kind of like that carrot on the stick is going to be, and like Adam just
That's what
mentioned,
it is. Yeah.
the more you fight, the better, the bigger and more powerful monsters you unlock, and those are when you really like that. I'm sure that big sandworm fight we just saw, I bet that guy had to work to get to that fight.
Yeah. It's
And
very
the
late
kind of
game.
thing where you have to move through the gear progression. You have to keep setting mini goals for yourself, and you kind of carrot on your stick yourself through the game to kind of get to those challenges. Here's one thing though that I'll say, Z. Like, this game is just one of those games that's fun to play. Like, yes, there's a grinding metagame to it and a very large amount of progression, but unlike in PoE, where a lot of times you're just kind of clicking around and you know that you're just kind of doing the gameplay motion to get to the gear and stuff, Monster Hunter is fun. Like, I lost, it's one of the few games that I just lost track of time playing completely. So
I might
it's more of that than I think a lot of progression games normally are.
I might get some shit for saying this, but a way to relate it to, I think, someone like Zeke is, it's basically multiplayer Dark Souls, but a little bit dumbed down with a crafting system. Like, the fights
That's what
are...
I mean. People have said that before. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, the fights
Yeah,
aren't maybe mechanically as difficult as Dark Souls, but they're long, and it's like, when you kill a mob, it's like a sigh of like, oh, thank God. Because you don't know. There's no
Yeah.
HP bar. You can kind of see what the mob's doing, like Adam said, but...
I think it's interesting. I don't know that dumbed down would be the word I would use necessarily, because that implies that Dark Souls is inherently like more complex, because I think there's some fairly complex stuff in Monster Hunter, but I also think like they definitely feel the cadence of the fights is different, because in Dark Souls there's a ramping up when you get to a boss. There's this increase in this feeling of it being, the stakes are much higher, whereas in Monster Hunter you fight the same guy over and over and over and over until you like learn exactly how to make them go. There is a comparison there for sure. Like they absolutely are of alike. And yeah, it's easy to say Monster Hunter is like Dark Souls boss fights over and over, but it's not as tense necessarily. There's different tension there, I think.
Sure. Yeah. Well, it's more attention of like, God, I hope that fucking tail comes off soon, and God, I hope when I do that, I get that fucking tail spike, because it really is going to look good on that hammer that I need to craft.
More often than not, when you fail a fight in Monster Hunter, it's your own fault. Where you're like, you take that swing and you hit him in the head instead of the tail, and you kill him, and you're like, fuck, there goes an hour. Yeah. Now I got to go back and like do it again, chop off that tail.
Zeke, the other thing with the combat, I don't know if it came through in the videos, but like you get animation locked real bad with some of the weapons. Like they have gigantic windups, and like, for example, the hammer has like a charge. You basically hold it down. You can like power up your hammer, and then one of the moves is just a charge where he just slams it down in the ground, and like it slams down to the ground, and it takes like a couple animation frames to like pull the hammer back up and get ready for a next attack. So if you do that, completely fucking miss, and the mob decides, oh, I'm gonna spin now, you're just gonna take that hit. So it's like learning that entire cadence, like Adam was saying, of the fight over and over, to where you can basically know exactly the best moment to go and strike with that specific weapon, and then back the fuck off so you don't get hit. And that's kind of the learning process. Speaking
of weapons, how's like the weapon variety? Is there just like
think of like 10 plus years of Monster Hunter games, each game adding like a new weapon and refining that over a shit ton amount of time. I think in the beta there was what? 14? Yeah, there's a lot. I think there were
14 different weapon types, and this runs the gambit between like bow, assault rifle, giant two-bladed staff, dual wield, giant hammer, giant sword, lance and shield, sword and shield. Like there's a huge, and each one plays not only completely differently, but they have two different attacks, and then those can combo independently into each other. So like it's X, a bit like YYX could be a combo, or XYXY, and then there's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a bit like Bloodborne in that a lot of the weapons have multiple modes. So you have a gun that's also a lance, that's also a shield, and you can switch it up as you fight.
It's fucking cool. Like the switch axe, for example, is like an axe, but then you can switch it and it turns into a giant fucking sword. Or I forget the name. I want to say like the gun lance or the gun. I don't know. It's basically a giant fucking revolver that is a sword, but then you put it into like revolver mode and you charge it up and like fire a giant shot. Just
that's a thing. That's actually the gun sword.
The gun blade
like
type
thing
shit
for lots of games.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VIII.
Yeah, Final Fantasy VIII, exactly.
No, the thing is, and what's wild is like about that weapon that JP just mentioned, that ended up being my favorite weapon when I tried it. The what is it? Switch axe, switch sword, whatever it's called.
Yes.
But dude, like you're using this gigantic axe, and it's a big two-handed axe. That's amazing. But then with one button, the back flips over and slides forward, and then it becomes this gigantic sword that you can charge up like some kind of. I don't think it was a gun, JP, but you saw what I was doing, that move.
It was a revolver.
Where, like, the tip would start glowing, and then it would basically fire a giant fireball out of the end.
Yeah.
Completely changed the play style of the weapon, and there wasn't a weapon anything like that sword was. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot. And then, of course, here's a question for Adam and the other long-term players. Those are weapon types. When you get different weapons within the weapon types, are there differences there too?
Yeah. So the materials you make, like I'm a simple man. I like to crush things with a giant hammer. But the types of hammer based on what I make them out of will have different qualities. So some might have a bonus to attack, some might do elemental damage of a particular type. So even if I'm set on one weapon, even if I'm like, I'm just going to hammer my way through this whole playthrough, I'm going to need a different kind of hammer to fight different monsters, depending on what they're resistant to and how they move.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's why the grind is real with that game. Like people say you spend 300 plus hours. It's because I need this specific item because next time I fight Diabolos, I need to be able to fucking just get it over with as fast as possible.
So are you saying like you can choose a weapon that really fits your play style, and then just customize around that weapon? Like, I know I need to do more damage to this guy more quickly, so I'm gonna customize it so it does that. And then this other monster needs this other thing. Can I take the same weapon that I'm used to, that I'm really good with, and make it customized for that monster?
You can, to a degree. The trick though is that some monsters require the move set of a certain weapon. Like if I'm using the hammer and I'm fighting, this is the reason I had so much trouble with Rathalos, is that Rathalos is a flying monster, and there's only a couple of overhand swings with the hammer, and the hammer's not that long. So if I want to fight the Rathalos, I need a longer weapon. So I switch to lance, and I can poke him in the face while he's flying above me. But if I do that, then I need to build the right lance for that kind of monster and for the sort of tier of gear that I'm on. So moveset affects it. And then also, like we were talking about before, if you're going to try to chop off a tail, you're going to need yourself an axe. A hammer is not going to do it for you.
Yep.
So you're saying that probably not going to be able to stick with one weapon throughout the entire thing.
You can if you're in a group.
Good with a lot of them.
If you're playing with a group, you
could main one, but
Like,
and there's also a couple of other important things to mention. First of all, almost every monster has a stagger state. So there's going to be times when the monster's either on the ground or exposed to any weapon being its big power attack. And also, you have to keep in mind that if you're playing solo, you're going to have your little guy with you, so he may be able to do the stagger thing. And then if you're in a group, then, if your weapon doesn't touch them when they're flying around, like in the case when I was playing with JP, Bike, and Lyric, I was using the Switchblade, and on that dragon fight, I could get in a hit or so, like Adam was talking about. Like I had this one big sweeping attack that I could use. But for me, I was mostly going around just getting pokes in. But the second that dragon hit the ground, I was up there doing a huge amount more damage, just hacking at this dude in the stomach. So you can probably get through it using one weapon type the whole time. But like Adam said, there's going to be fights where one weapon type shines.
Right.
Like in that dragon fight, for instance, that double-bladed staff, and you could see that in JP's clip a little bit earlier. The double-bladed staff, you can jam into the ground and push your character into the air, and then start comboing in the air.
Right.
So I was using that big switchblade on my fight. I can't even jump with that thing. I'm like stuck on the ground.
Yeah.
So some monsters, different weapons, different fights, but you should be able to pick a type and kill anything with it. Probably.
Zeke, I think it's important to also state that, and chat's been saying it a lot, like the armor that you craft, because you also craft armor alongside weapons, and the armor itself has skills inherent in said armor. And so with that, you can also like have it's almost in a sense of like speccing your character. So like if you want your character to have like a shit ton of attack, then you can spec to have a shit ton of attack. Or if you want your character to have a shit ton of defense, then you can have a shit ton of defense, and probably mix in, if you're going to go fight a monster that does a lot of fire damage, you'll mix in some fire resist, or cold damage, you'll mix in that, or poison damage, you'll mix in poison resist, etc.
Yeah, and that's the balance, right? Is that you can make a set of gear, and I think that I tend to fall into this problem when I play games with these things where I'll just pick one thing and I'll just be really good at that one thing, and then I'll get into a situation where that one thing's not good enough. I'm like, oh, I don't have any ice resist gear. Why do I keep getting my ass kicked? And you're like, oh, I see. I have to go in and adapt, and you can work in pieces of other gear till you find that balance between the playstyle you like and the things that you like need to win the fight.
Yeah. Someone also
when you start playing, do you have access to like the basic form of all the weapons, or do you have to find them along the way?
They usually give you like the rookie weapon of whatever of all the weapons at the very beginning.
Okay.
Yeah, there's usually the base version. Yeah.
The beta had like kind of the sets that you'll eventually get, but the stuff that like we were fighting the Rathalos, which is a pretty high tier mob, was not probably comparable to what we would actually have in the real game when fighting said mob. It's just a really difficult fight in the beta. And then someone else also said the stats aren't necessarily boring in the sense of like you can get stats that have like plus trap mastery, so you can fucking like set a spike trap and the spike trap's going to do more damage or something like that. So there's a lot of different stuff for sure. But yeah. January 26th. I think the beta did a very good job, or the demo did a very good job of getting everyone sufficiently hyped for that, and putting on a lot of people's radar. So I'm excited to see what happens.
It's starting PlayStation only.
It is, yeah, PS4 only.
PS4, and you most likely will want a PS4 Pro for this. I haven't seen the side by sides, but I can tell you that it does have maximization options with the PS4 Pro, so you will get more performance out of it. And even with the more performance, there are times in performance mode when it does start to drag a little bit.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what this game looks like on a standard PS4.
Are they doing HDR support? Do you know, like 4K HDR? for this
Xbox as
game?
well. I don't know if they're doing HDR support or anything, but it's also coming out Xbox as well. It should be standard.
Okay.
Oh, it is coming out on Xbox. Okay.
So here
Now,
I'm
the
wondering.
Xbox One gonna have? Is it gonna take advantage of the new Xbox?
That's what I was about to say. If it runs better on the Xbox One X, I'm gonna play Xbox, boys,
Yeah, that actually is a
because
consideration.
it's a more powerful console, and I have one, and I'd much prefer the better looking / running game.
And
but
that's some significant multiplayer fragmenting if
Right.
it's on both consoles and PC.
it is, yeah.
No crossplay.
No,
Probably not.
do they not? Yeah, they don't have any crossplay of any kind.
I don't think so.
No,
No.
there's no crossplay.
Ooh.
So, chat, have they said if there's Xbox One X, like, quote, improvements or performance upgrades, or is it just going to run better? Or have they not said anything about that stuff? Because I'm real curious to see if it runs better on that. Because it
I haven't even
definitively
gotten
runs better on the PS4 Pro. Do what?
That may kick it over.
Oh yeah, just to give. Yeah.
That may be the reason. I need a reason, and that may be it.
I'm trying to see if anyone says. Oh, we brought up crossplay. It's
See,
just going to
wait.
people
This
out.
is going to open up a whole new can of worms because what if it does look better on the Xbox? Then you're talking about having base systems, PS4 Pro that's like one level of better, and then a Xbox that's like a higher than a PS4 Pro and then are you going to have 3 versions of the game, like base
Well,
PS4
what's
Pro
Chat
version?
saying it's
and
going to run
Xbox
better
version?
on the guys. We're playing Xbox version. Fuck your PS. And it's got
it's
this
so
better
funny.
controller. Boom.
It's so funny because while it's a total shit show having it on all these different consoles, it's totally fitting for Monster Hunter, which is already like a console platform shit show. Like I don't know, we'll just put it out on everything. You just pick whatever you want, just play Monster Hunter, because that's kind of how it is already. So it fits, but yeah, no crossplay is a bit weird because you do have to say to everybody, like, all right, people I want to play this with, this is the console we're playing on. If you don't have one, it's tough, I guess.
Sorry.
Yeah. And then everyone will just switch over to PC when it comes up for PC.
I'm going to try to find an article to confirm that while we're talking about it, because then it's just like, well, I guess I'm okay. Yeah, Monster Hunter World confirmed is an Xbox One enhanced title. Boom.
Okay.
So it's going to look and run better on the Xbox One X.
So just I want to see in chat who is going to double dip. Who's going to double dip? Get it on console and PC. Like, you can't wait for it to come out on PC, kind of like a lot of people did for Destiny.
Might be a little biased because the majority of people in chat are watching on a PC right now. So you got to remember the audience, and most of the people are PC audience right now.
I see mostly a combination of PC only, me, and hell yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there's some. Here we go. Here's some no's. No, here's a guy. I refuse to double dip.
Oh, he refuses, chat. Refuses.
Looks like someone's got principles.
Thank God for you.
Yeah, thank God.
guy.
Somebody promote him to the top of EA.
Thank goodness. A man with principles.
Yeah. Well, cool.
Good work,
That's
Captain
Monster Hunter World. It comes out January 26th. I think we're all sufficiently hyped. I meant to mention this at the start of the show, but last week we were talking about Drop Fames being on iTunes. Yesterday I tweeted that it was sent in for submission. Like 30 minutes after I tweeted that, it went live on iTunes. So you can actually grab all the previous 134 episodes or something like that.
2215.
Or yeah, sorry. Right. 2,215 episodes right now on iTunes. And we'll start updating today's episode. The process is I'm still learning it, so I'm not super efficient, but I'm hoping to get it up later tonight or tomorrow. So go and download it.
Also, as JP promised, each one of those episodes will have a paragraph level description of exactly what's in the show. Including a full script of the whole thing. You're doing that, right?
They do have paragraph descriptions of everything in the show.
Oh, they do?
They do, yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
goes
I'll
that
link it
joke.
in chat. And we're going to try to get it posted on Spotify. Submissions a little bit different. I'm not too clear on that stuff. And then I guess there's like an Android thing that I can upload this to, but I don't know what that is. I still have to learn.
You don't have the tweet announcing that handy, do you? For RTs and stuff?
No, I will. I'll tweet that out actually now because I was saving it for the show. But yeah, that's live. And if you want to support us, you can leave a comment on the show on iTunes, and that's the best way to kind of get it pushed out there. So we'll get it posted on everything else in due time. The company that Libsyn is very versatile in where it can be posted and everything. So, anyways,
Oh wait,
So,
AP.
You said something about Google Play, right?
yeah, Google Play, I guess. Yeah, is that where Android users download stuff for? It's Google Play.
Yeah.
one of them.
Okay, yeah, I'll look into that probably sometime this weekend. But by next week, I'm hoping to have everything. I think the Spotify submission's a little bit weird because they basically review it and see if it's going to generate enough traffic for to even be on their site. It's not just like you can submit it, but we'll get it posted on Google Play. I guess if that's where people get it.
Just because I'm curious, I put a straw poll in chat for the Monster Hunter question I asked because I forgot. It's just madness. It just
Yeah.
It's against my religion.
Let's you want to chat Path of Exile? I don't know how much time we really need to spend on Path of Exile because we spend a lot of time on its show. Maybe just talk about like the new league and stuff like that. But yeah, it's scary how much me and Co both bought the stupid supporter packs, and I've now over $1,000 invested in that game, and it's completely free to play. There's no reason to do it, just because I want to look cool. Yeah, no, you bought some for your chat, right, and gave them away because you can gift them. Yeah.
Yeah. Which, by the way, for any streamers out there, super cool. You can just contact GGG and say, "Hey, I want to give away these packs," and they'll go, "Okay, you buy the packs on your account, and when we detect that, we'll send you codes for them, and then you can give those away."
Yeah.
It's like, wow, you made this easy.
It's
Thanks.
really cool. Yeah,
So that's pretty awesome.
I want to try and do that. But yeah, just so everyone knows, I'm playing a Cyclone character, as Coast said. It's basically a Diablo 3 barbarian. I just hold down right click and everything dies. It's just,
I think, dude, that, yeah.
I just
it's a
spin
fun
to win. It's super fucking fun, especially when there's a billion mobs on the screen, kind of like right now, where you're just zone the fuck out and just right clicking and seeing things drop for you. It's pretty good. Co, how's you're playing Glacial Cascade and you finally got Glacial like it should be stated that Co is playing this game I guess slower is the best way to say it than I am, because you're taking your time with it and kind of learning the build, whereas I've put like 30 hours into the character or something already. Yeah. But yeah, talk about your character some. I'll get this tweet out.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm playing the game a little bit differently than normal. First of all, I am actually, for the first time, playing an SSF character. So my character is bound by SSF rules, which means it's a solo self-found. I can't trade with other players. I can't group with other players. Players can't give me items. Everything on my character, I have to get myself, which is it's a different way to play it. But it basically just all SSF means is solo, single player game. That's all it means. Now, what's also been really interesting is this build that I'm playing was viewer voted. So we put up a list of builds and let the community pick them. But the interesting thing is this particular build, what's called a GCI, actually, there was a major nerf that took place in 3.1 to the specific skill called Valpact. And this build actually utilized Valpact pretty extensively. So what happened is at the last minute, we made some pretty significant alterations to the build, and we're kind of like feeling our way through it and seeing how far we can go with it.
Well,
because yeah, there's the survivability aspect has been reduced sharply with the Valpact changes.
Yeah. Carl, let me pull up some of your gameplay. There's a lot of like. It should be stated that I don't know everything about Path of Exile, and I'm nowhere near. I do not consider myself even a novice at the game in terms of knowledge. But I feel like with this build, with this season, this league, Abyss, the way that things are dropping in terms of specific items are completely creating builds just by one item. And that's to say that there's these new items called Shaper items or Elder items. And these items have brand new prefixes or brand new like stats on the items that completely change the way that things interact with them in terms of the different support skills and stuff like that. And because of that, you're seeing things drop that just fucking like basically break the game. Just items that are ungodly believable and are rare. They're not a unique item. They're just a rare item that make a certain skill when used with that item like godlike, just like complete breaking the game. And so you're seeing builds like I think Ziggy D right now is playing a build where he's got a couple of the shaped rares with different stats on them, and they're just like unbelievable. They just the game is completely different because of that. There's a bunch of uniques as well that are kind of starting to change things. There's a helm that drops from some of the new zones called the Abyss, which basically creates like an AoE around you, and a lot of people are working that into the builds because it just you fucking just destroy
And the new
maps.
7 link.
Yeah. That's kind of the 7 link stuff is basically the rare with some of the shaper mods on them, which are just insane.
Do you need new glasses, Coke? Because you're playing real close.
What do you mean?
Oh, do you mean zoomed
Real
in?
Zoomed in.
Oh, yeah,
Bro, that's as zoomed out as you can get in PoE.
yeah. You
Is
can't
it?
you can't zoom out any
Yeah.
further.
It's a
You're
zoomed in
no.
game.
JP's looked like it was like way further out.
Well, it's because the map
man.
was.
Am I fucking out of my mind? This seems like way. Maybe I need to fucking check my eyes.
It's because
What's
the map
funny
was
though
smaller.
is there's a few maps where if you see those columns right there, the walls and everything in the map are a lot higher than normal, so it makes you feel like you're more zoomed in. It also does weird things with the camera when you're too close to them. But no, I'm as zoomed out as you can be. Trust me, when it's zoomed in, you know, because you can't see like 2 feet on either side of you.
Yeah.
It's bad. But yeah, that is pretty much zoomed all the way
Oh,
out.
there we go. Man. Okay. Sorry about that, guys.
Yeah. But yeah, it's great. I think pretty much in talking to Ziz and on PMs and stuff, like everyone's pretty much saying that this is miles better than last league, than the Harbinger League, in terms of everything they've added. Some of the cool stuff
And the
too that
They're awesome.
do what?
The abysses are really cool.
Yeah, the Abyss stuff is great. There's a lot of new things too with the Atlas, being that it's called War for the Atlas, that has changed. Now, when you go to the Atlas and look at the different maps, there's potential things where, like a shaper cloud is over a certain map, which means if you run that map, then it is, quote, a shaper map, and shaper drops can happen from it. And the bosses are a little bit different. There's certain mobs that can potentially spawn in there that won't spawn anywhere else. And this is constantly changing throughout the day. No one really knows how to manipulate it, if it's completely random or if there's something you can do to manipulate it. But one of the things I'm seeing a lot of people do is kind of chasing this around the different places in the Atlas. And it's completely changing things. I saw Mathel do a couple of like in-game bosses as well, like fighting the Elder and stuff like that. And those bosses just look fucking insane. Like, just absolutely ridiculous in terms of the different mechanics that you have to learn and do. So I can't wait to actually get to that stuff. But for me, it's probably, 50, 60 hours away and potentially on a different character. So
Yeah, I'm only on Act 5, man. Like,
yeah.
I tell you, every time I play through this game, I feel not only like you learn a game's worth of information just every time you run it, but this is my second time running the game, my second character, period. And it's like a completely different game from the first time I played it. Like following a guide and understanding the mechanics and being able to look at a situation and be like, okay, so this just happened. So I know this, this, and this. So I need to do this, this, and this on my character to get around that. Okay. And man, it's been great. Also, following a build guide is a lot more fun than I thought it'd be.
Oh, without a doubt, because you get to see like the idea of like the power curve in this game, that like you can be a complete fucking awful character, and the second that you're able to kill things fast, you're just like, oh, this feels real good. Like, this feels fucking amazing.
Well, and also similar to like, I mean, hell, even let's pull it out a little bit, but similar to like mobile games or games that reward you, or you can get tangible increases of power, and you get that little like moment. You get that so often in this game, where you socket that new skill or that new support gem, or you get that new extra linked item, where you put it together and you're just sitting there like, oh, I've been waiting for this.
Well,
I've been waiting so long for this. Like right now, I still don't have a 5 link. My boots don't have movement speed.
Okay.
They have all 4 of my links, so I can't switch them out. I have all these little like sub missions in my character that I've made myself. But anytime I complete one of those, it's just like, yes, like, oh, I've been waiting hours for this,
Yeah.
I love that so much about this game. It makes even mundane things entertaining.
Yeah.
Wild.
I've spent a lot of time this league in a program called Path of Building, which is basically just looking at numbers, and you can like click things to see like, well, if I add that item, it's going to give me 1,000 extra DPS, and I'll sit there and do that. I'm like, all right, well, if I go do this right now, that's the biggest power jump, but then if I get this item, it's the biggest power and then I'll sit there, okay, well, that's a 2,500 DPS, let's do that, and I'll like click the item in game and then just go do a map, and I'm like, oh, this is so much better. but it's just so stupid.
It feels so good.
It's just completely
It's exactly what I've
stupid,
been doing for the past 80 hours, but for some reason it feels so good.
Yeah, it's real dumb. It's real dumb. I'm trying
No,
to find this helm that I used the other day that I found. But what were we gonna say, Co?
No, I was gonna say that. I've only played this game for like, I don't know, 40 hours, which is zero, basically nothing, basically zero. And there are some feelings that I understand. It's like I'm getting these references. The feeling of this shit works for me. Oh, you're like finally find something. You're like, this is my shit right here, and you're like just mowing down mobs and shit. You're like, fuck yes.
Yeah, I agree,
This
man.
is my jam.
I guess maybe this wasn't Monday. Maybe it was Sunday when I got that item. There was the other thing that's really cool to play, or the other cool thing to see is now that I've started a league and I understand what's happening in the league, understanding like the market and the PoE trade system with all this stuff, and being able to play it and like know that, hey, if this item drops, it's going to sell for a shit ton, even if, 3 weeks from now, it's going to sell for absolute shit. And watching like the market quote fluctuate in that. There's a helm that dropped. I happened to get it the day after, but it dropped, and Ziz, the streamer, started using it in his build, and it went from like 10 chaos to like 80 or 150 chaos in like minutes. It just shot the fuck up on the auction house, and over the course of the night, it like stabilized down to like 30, and that's right around the time when I got it. But seeing that stuff just fucking go crazy as like builds get popular and certain things change in the game is really awesome. It's cool to see that stuff. I don't know if I can pull up of it, but
that's something I can actually kind of relate to too. Like back in my old Magic the Gathering days, when you look up like deck builds and you see like championship builds and be like, this one rare card went from like $1 to like $60 per card. Yeah.
They run on exactly the same engines, right? In that because of the way Magic works in a constructed universe, a card that'll pop up in a new set and become part of that cycle, become important to the top net deck of that cycle. Yeah, huge spike in its value. And then as soon as it either cycles out or the next cycle comes out and there's a card that is better or different or invalidates it, it just plummets. And it's totally fascinating. You could really get like hooked into it for sure. Yeah. But that's the point, right? They're designed for that.
Yeah. And that's the other crazy thing about this game too is me and Co talked about the amount of money we spent on it, but you just do everything that we've said so far completely free. You just download the game and then you just play the game and it's great.
That is the fucking awesomest part about this, and it's because they have chumps like us paying for extra shit. Like if I got into it, I would definitely be like at least $200-300 in deep by now if I kept playing it.
Yep.
And I think that's fucking awesome.
Also, another interesting thing to consider, I wouldn't give this game a penny if I had paid for it.
Yeah.
And if you already buy something, like literally my character is full ice armor, every single piece ice armor from the new Fire and Ice loot boxes. I probably put $120 into those alone. Would I have ever done that if I had spent $30 on the game or something? Probably not, because that puts a completely different spin on what you're paying for at that point, especially when you're talking about paying for paid content. But because it's free to play, because I know that I haven't put a penny in this, I'm so much more inclined to go to that cosmetic shop and actually buy stuff.
Yeah.
We were talking about that in chat today. In fact, somebody, like, we worked it out a little bit. Like, what if the game was $20, right? Well, it's like, cool, I've bought like multiple hundred copies so far for everyone. And I'm sure, and I'm small fries compared to the people that have been buying these packs since this stuff has started.
Right.
There's people that buy the top pack every time they come out, every time there's a new season. No question. There's probably hundreds of those. So if you think about how that's working out, like, good on you, GDD. Like, this is great. Not only can everyone play that wants to, but hopefully you're making some good money off this too.
Yeah.
And the people that are actually putting the money into it are like, we love doing this. So everyone wins.
It's also, there's a similarity to be drawn between their business model and like the Twitch business model. Like, you can watch me every day for free, absolutely free. You don't have to. I mean, all you have to do is to have internet connection. You can fucking watch me for free every day. And I don't think that if you had to pay to watch me, I would be doing as well as I am by people voluntarily giving me money.
No, of course. Yeah, of course. Absolutely. It's that like you get the first, I mean, like if you're a drug dealer, this is how you do it, right? Like, come on in.
Yeah,
First
you get a
one's
little
free.
taste for free. Yep.
Yeah, you like it? You want the real good shit? All right, you can pay for it if you want to. Just like, I mean, yes, you can make your own bathtub methamphetamines, I guess, if you want to, but like, I got that good shit. It's fascinating. It's totally fascinating how that model works and how that's become a way in which we consume content, whether it's video games or streams. It's funny that a subscription model like Netflix almost is starting to feel like outmoded. Like it's obviously useful for them and it's working, but I could envision a world where Netflix is like, you can watch the first episode of every TV show you want. You want any more? Pay for it.
Yeah. Well, I feel like eventually they're going to, like Hulu, I think will eventually go down that path before Netflix will, just because they're potentially more open to trying stuff because they're not at the top, right? So they have the room to kind of experiment with it.
Yeah, I mean, Netflix in the sense of like, you know, Kleenex or Q-tips, like Netflix meaning all streaming platforms like that.
Right. By the way, this is that helmet with the green stuff, just so people know. Anyways, go ahead.
Oh, that's the balls that are shooting out?
Yeah, it's fucking stupid. Yeah.
Wait, what is that?
I think I know what I was noticing before.
Yeah.
Like thinking that you were zoomed in, Co. It's because your character is like
huge
and bulky. Like he's this big, like he's a block of ice and icicles.
My character is very slim. This is one of the full sets. It's the Infernal set, which is one of the more expensive ones that you can buy. But it's slimmed down. Like he looks slim. Yeah. But yeah,
my guy is a walking behemoth of death and torment.
Right. For the first time, I was trading.
Push up your glasses when you do that. Push up your glasses.
Yo, own it. Hold on.
Maybe we can do it like from. Hold on. Just imagine that when I do it. You know, like what was it? Just.
And if you wanna RP as Olaf from Frozen, that's your business.
Yeah.
And no one's gonna judge you for it. It's fine.
No, wait. What was it was the not Sword Art Online, but the other one about the people stuck in the MMO.
Oh, Log Horizon.
Thank you.
It's called.
Yes, that guy. That's what I was seeing.
Speaking of anime.
Yeah. But Co, you were asking about the helmet. It's a helmet that drops from the Abyss Lords, like the Abyss Lich. It's a random unique that you can get that does that stuff, and a lot of people are working into builds. But I did have the cool thing where I was trading with someone last night off stream, and he joined my hideout and like put the item in trade. And before he hit accept, he goes, "Hey man, nice MTX." And I was like, "Thanks, dude." Accept and traded it to him. I was like, "I feel pretty fucking cool right now, man."
Yo, man, yeah. I like the size of your wallet.
Yeah. Someone was like, you spent a lot of money on them, man. Good job. Thanks for that. And I'm like, that feels good. That feels real good.
What is? Hold on. MTX.
MTX is microtransaction. It's like the acronym.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cosmetic purchases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think we should save the Persona 5 talk till after the break.
I agree. I was actually going to say, well, go ahead. Finish your statement.
No, I'd love to talk. I'd love to hear Adam's thoughts on, because I see you uploading videos about Horizon Zero Dawn. I would love to like
it's great.
Hear your thoughts about that shit.
Yeah, talk to us about how you take photos and Horizon. I've watched your streams, Adam, and it is hilarious.
All right, so I promise you that somewhere in the development team that made Horizon Zero Dawn, there was one person, just like one person on the dev team who was like, photo mode, come on, like it's my baby. Photo mode, we're making this beautiful game. Let's give people a way to explore it and to capture their own images from it. And I promise people are gonna love it. And everyone on the team was like, like this, all right, okay, you can code it on your own time and we'll put it in the game. And I hope whoever you are,
I will.
this one person,
don't worry about it. I'll be right back.
I'm your guy. You made it for me. I love you, whoever you are. Thank you. Honestly, there were parts, I would get comments on every single playthrough. Every time I play, people would be like, play the game. What are you doing? Stop it. Stop it. Play the game. This is boring. Show me something in the game. Fight some monsters. I'm like, no, but the bokeh though. Let me just adjust this slider a little. It's so good. And the game, I got probably twice as much time out of the game as I would have if I had just been like, oh, photo mode, neat, let's kill some stuff. I got to the point where I was yelling at the game for interrupting me. I'm like, I'm trying to take a photo, stop attacking me with stuff.
Yeah.
And I just like, I love it. It was so fun. And I absolutely know that I'm like way deep into the niche of this audience, right? People who are both video game aficionados and also like photography aficionados. And it was so good. It was perfect. I love it. It was my favorite part of the game and the DLC. The DLC was just more shit for me to look at and take pictures of.
Nice.
I didn't even know that was a thing in the game.
The photo
no
mode
idea.
was?
It looks deep too.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So you can adjust it. The thing that I love about it is that it wasn't just screenshot mode. It was photo mode. So it was like, here are the controls. Yeah. Imagine if your viewpoint was a camera. You can you can change the lens. Essentially, you can zoom in and out in the way a camera would. You can change the depth of field in the way a camera would. And then on top of that, the gold for every photographer is you can change the time of day. Lock the shot, just move the sun. If you're like, yeah, you know what? the shadows aren't good. What would this look like if it was 3 a.m? And you just roll the time back, and it's so good. It was awesome. I had a really good time with photo mode in that game, and I spent more time talking about taking pictures than I did actually like doing the game stuff. Which is why I thought that the photo mode in Breath of the Wild was so disappointing, because it's just a screenshot mode. It's just like you can take screenshots. They really, someone on that team for Horizon is a photographer. Someone understands how taking photos works, and that made me really happy.
Dare you say anything about Breath of the Wild is disappointing? How dare you, sir?
Listen, I love Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
I love Breath of the Wild, but yeah,
okay. I know where we're going next after this.
I had more fun in Breath of the Wild naming my horse after rude things than I did taking photos. So
I saw a tweet that was
my horse in Breath of the Wild was named My Dick, and it made the whole game so fun. I think there was some Zelda stuff in there, but mostly just jokes about my dick.
That's pretty good.
I gotta go ride my dick right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm gonna call my dick over.
Yeah, you whistle for your dick, but it wouldn't come.
Jesus.
No, I actually saw a tweet that I thought was kind of cool. Like the guy had renamed his character instead of Link, he renamed himself My Dude.
My dude.
So everybody is so like chill. Like, what's up, my dude?
You gotta save Hyrule, my dude.
I like the big tree. The big tree is like, welcome to my forest, my dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah,
that's pretty great.
That
I
whole
kind
school,
of want to play
whole
that.
School
now.
of humor is like it gets me right in the funny zone. Like I remember one of the first times I ever saw that joke come up was in a Final Fantasy Tactics game for the GBA. The character right before you name yourself, one of the characters is like, well, you can't be the new kid forever. And then on the screen, someone named their character New Kid. And I was just like, yep, that's the funniest shit of all time. You win.
Yeah,
you did it.
It's good. It's good.
You know, I gotta say, you have a pretty extensive vocabulary and you use it, Adam. And I gotta say, it warms my little heart to hear you named your horse My Dick, because I'm so glad about that.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I feel like you just somehow vindicated Zeke, Adam?
That's exactly what he's done. That's exactly 100% what he's done.
I love all the brows, the high brow, the low brow, all the brows in between.
Yeah.
All the brows. Yeah.
Sometimes
No,
I just want a real good dick joke.
Well, like I often spend half an hour naming a character. Like the first time you name a character, I often spend a half an hour like just like crowdsourcing in chat, like putting things together. Like like when I was doing the old game Nox.
Yeah.
It took me like 20 minutes, a good solid 20 minutes of looking in chat and going, nah, there's got to be a winner in there before I settled on Chod Apple Chort.
Adam, what was the name?
It just rolls off the tongue. He was Chod Apple Chort, the Grand Wizard.
Adam, what was that name you said yesterday during Court of Swords that fucking made me lose my shit? It was the Irish one, the laddie thing.
Oh, yeah, that's right. My favorite Twitter account of the day was Laddie Donglegs. Yeah. Laddie Donglegs.
So good.
That's so good.
Just the best name. Just the best names.
Yeah. One of my favorite, speaking of that actually made me think of one of my favorite Twitch names. because it's one of those ones where you just like invert the first letters. Like, laddie dong legs.
Yeah.
Buns glazing was like
that's pretty
one
good.
of my favorite Twitch names because it makes absolute sense either way.
Yeah, both
Either way,
contexts.
yeah.
Yeah.
Coming in guns blazing, or we got buns glazing.
It's good. It's good for sure. By the way, someone in the chat mentioned, Adam, that there are communities on the PSN network where all they do is just take photos. Like they're photographer networks that you can join, and they just take photos of the game, which I think is probably one of the weirdest and coolest like niche cultures I've ever seen in a game before.
I was talking about this when I was playing. I would love to see a game. My ideal of the photography thing in a game was I would love to see a game. It would be a 2-player co-op game set during the Vietnam War, where one of you is a soldier and the other is a combat photographer. And the combat photographer's job is to take photos, and the game would be smart enough that you would be judged based on what was in the photo. So if you take a picture of like a soldier looking heroic with an American flag in the background, you'll get some patriot points, but you maybe won't gain the points for the mission. Kind of like how TIE Fighter had the Secret Empire mission.
Well, it's like Pokemon Snap, but with Vietnam guns.
Right, exactly. Well, like, Vietnam Snap.
Yeah. Like when you had to learn about the oh fuck, I forgot the name of the enemies. But in BioShock you had to take, and you get more points.
Oh right.
It was like an action shot, like they were coming straight for you and you go
Yeah. Dead Rising had something
yeah.
similar, right? Like Dead Rising had a lot of camera stuff in it too, if I remember. I'd play that game though.
But the Vietnam thing, that's fucking awesome. I would take joy in playing either one of those parts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty much Full Metal Jacket the game. Which, it would require, we would need to get AI to a point where photo recognition is strong enough to figure out if a photo makes the war effort look good or bad, and then process points based on that. I think it'd be super fun.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Well, cool. I'm glad.
What do you think of the DLC?
Yeah, you ended up being it, right?
Yeah.
Spoilers. Be careful.
It's beautiful. I think that it was really cool. I found the weather both great to look at and super annoying sometimes because it's like blizzards and snowstorms, so they block off things I wanted to look at, but also striking, like really striking. The gameplay felt kind of like what they do with World of Warcraft dungeons, where they were like, there's a couple of new monsters, but mostly we've just given it an excuse to ramp up the hit points and the damage. And then we'll throw more monsters at you, which is like fine. It's an easy way to ramp difficulty up for the DLC. The story was sort of whatever, but the characters are great. The strength of Horizon for me has always been the environment and the NPCs. And just like in the main game, the NPCs are all really interesting looking. They're all really cool. There's a good combination of characters that you're like, oh, I hate this guy, and characters who are like, oh, I hope the game doesn't make me hate this guy because he's so funny. And also, it continued the trend of all of the female NPCs in the game being extremely gay for Aloy. Like, just like crazy over-the-top gay for her, which I thought is really funny and an interesting thing that they continued. Like, it obviously wasn't a mistake from the first game or like an accident, but it commits what I think is the cardinal sin of video game storytelling, in that right near the end, there's like a 20-minute info dump about all of the stuff that you just did. And I just sat there shaking my head like, oh, come on, like, stop. Just please stop doing this. You could have shown all of this to me, but instead I'm sitting here going through this dialogue tree. Everything else was great, but like I fell asleep at the end because it was just like so much info dump. It was very much tell rather than show.
It was kind of like the reward at the end in the sense of like, thank you for playing our 8+ hours or however long the DLC was. Here's some story stuff that, take it or leave it if you want.
Did you go around and did you do all the collectibles and all that shit?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's one of the only games that I've ever done that with, where I'm like, because again, I think that for me, the reason to climb the hill is initially I'm gonna get an item, but the real reason to climb that hill is like, I bet I could get a real good shot of that volcano from up there.
Do you have like a gallery?
I sure do. I have a Google Photos gallery of all the photos I took from the main game. It reminded me that I have to add all my my extras, but I'll
Can
get
you
a link for it.
does the PlayStation like spit those out at like 4K or how does that work?
I had to buy a thumb drive because that's the only way. Seriously, I had to go on Amazon and I had to buy a thumb drive because it cannot transfer it any other way except one at a time.
Oh my god.
To Twitter, right, or Facebook or whatever. There's no download this to your email address or whatever. So I bought a thumb drive and I grabbed them all and then I had to upload them onto.
That's how they get you, Adam.
To Google.
Yeah.
I know, fucking Sony ass thumb drives. But yeah, it's cool. It's really fun sharing in the same way. Like it just feels like taking photos. Like I really like sharing it and seeing people's comments on them, and yeah, it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the thing. I'll update with my DLC shots.
Cool. We got about 5-10 minutes. We could talk a little bit about the Game Awards specifically. You guys just want fuck all the actual awards. You guys just want to talk about Death Stranding trailer.
Yes. Oh my god, I so do.
What the fuck, man? Ko, you've watched that, right? You watched it the next morning?
Dude, I watched the Death Stranding trailer. Don't get me wrong, I love Kojima. I love his weird and wacky sense of humor, and I love babies and tummies. But it's the kind of thing where I am ready to see what this game is. Because like at this point, are we looking at a Telltale game? Like it is so there are so many every single 10-second block adds another question.
It really
and
does, man.
it's like all the questions are interesting and it's cool. But man, I am anxiously excited to see what the hell this is going to be.
It was so funny. There was one thing that actually came out of that PSX event because there was literally nothing except for like this and a Last of Us 2 performance. But Andrew House, who is leaving PlayStation this year, when he initially went to Kojima and asked him about the project, Kojima pitched it. And I think Andrew said something to the effect of like, I have no idea what you just said, but yeah, cool, make it. Let's do it. I'll get you the funding.
No, I'm in the.
Want to reinvent Peggle? Awesome, go for it.
For Death Stranding, I'm in the Willy Wonka boat. The suspense is terrible. I hope it lasts.
Yeah,
I'm you know what I'm in a position, and Zeke, you and I tweeted about this a little bit together. I'm in a position now where whatever it is, whether it's a video game that makes sense or it's a complete fucking auteur shit show, I'm so excited. Like even if it's 20 plus hours of just like, what is this? What's happening? What's going on? What's happening? And we get to the end, I'm just gonna be like, awesome, thanks. Whatever that was, great. Because it's ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. It's like letting you try to guess, but not giving you any tools to do so. And I wonder if one of two things is happening, right? It's either Bloodborne, where Kojima has a full plan. Everything is like worked out. He knows exactly what's going on, and we're just not seeing it.
Yeah.
Or it's Lost, and he's just made it up and not told anybody the details and been like, just trust me, I'm Hideo Kojima. Okay?
Cerny, Mark Cerny was interviewing him at PSX as well, and I think he said like he's played the game for about 5 hours and everything that's in this trailer makes sense. And so,
well, not only that, and actually going to what we're watching right now, this is one thing about these trailers that interests the hell out of me. It's not a bunch of random stuff. There are things that we are watching that clearly have real purpose and real order. Like, for instance, the first time I watched this, that little thing on his back that's doing this thing and how it changes and how when the thing comes, it looks at it and it does like a little turn. Like there's and this thing right here, like all this stuff, it's clear there's an order and a purpose to everything. It's not just random stuff to be random.
Sure.
So I honestly think I'm in the boat where this is probably all designed. It's all thought out. There's probably going to be reasons for everything. It may not always be exposed to the player, a la Dark Souls 3, where a lot of the stuff you kind of have to reason out yourself. But I wouldn't be surprised if he developed a crazy ass world and is purposefully showing us slices designed to confuse, but there's an entire logical backbone to the whole thing. And honestly, like what Adam said, like I can't wait to see what that backbone is. Like I am so ready to see all these connectivity tissue tendons, to see all this crazy shit we've seen for the past few months now. Yeah. Like for instance, another thing that I noticed is when that thing comes around, everyone goes,
right.
Like, what can you not breathe? Why are you holding your nose? Does it invade your body? Like all these things are starting to you're starting to notice them in the different videos, these themes.
Yep.
Why is that thing clapping? Why isn't it just looking at it? Like,
I think the only way that this game is going to disappoint me is if it's just the whole game explaining itself. If it's like, here's a 20-minute cutscene explaining the flappy metal arm thing to you. Like, I don't want that. I want to never be told explicitly what any of that stuff is. I want to learn that through play.
He's going to explain everything.
But he's totally going to,
no.
No,
because look at Dark Souls. Look at Dark Souls. He explains.
I was gonna bring that up. I was gonna bring up Dark Souls because it leaves it up to the player to figure out what's going on, and I fucking love that.
Yeah, Kojima is not that way.
Yeah, Kojima's not that way.
Well, here's the thing though. He leaves it up to the player to discover it all, but it's all there. And the people that really take the time to go under the scenes and look at the little inscription in this level that references the inscription in this level, like that's the kind of shit that's cool. Where you have to go watch a YouTube video just to see what's going on, and they're pinging different places and different levels, and they're like adding it together to get the lore that you'd never see normally.
Yeah,
I think this game is going to be a lot of that.
Do you think the reason why like Kojima might explain more in his games is because he's like, yeah, that was my idea. Pretty good.
I wonder about that because there's functionally two kinds of absurdists, right? There's the kind, like if you ask Salvador Dali to explain a painting, he will probably spout a series of words that don't make sense to you and then eat his hat, right? Like, and you'll be like, great, I know less than I did before I talked to you. Thank you. But then there's the kind who's like, well, the meaning of this video game is, and will expound about these things. And I think we're looking at that in the Kojima x Miyazaki dyad, right? There is the kind of person who will say, I'm going to explain to you everything about this, either because I think you're too stupid to get it, or because I want to brag about it so that you're like, ooh, that's very intelligent.
Yeah.
Or in the Miyazaki case, you're like, I don't know, if you can't figure it out, it's there. All the clues are there. It's obvious to me because I made it.
True.
You go do it.
He said this underwater thing right here is also fully playable. So I think this cutscene kind of like is a merge of something because this is supposed to be a playable portion of the game, or is a playable portion of the game. Whereas the cutscene, it just kind of like skips ahead to the fucking weird baby, etc. That thing was creepy as fuck, by the way.
Oh my god,
Children are terrifying.
Yeah.
Immediately when I think it was during the Game of the Year show when I was during the trailer here, I really, really, really hope that this can help usher in like risk-taking storytelling, like
on a AAA level. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's not do like another army shoot 'em up game. Let's fucking go bonkers with this fucking shit. That. Hell yeah, dude. Hell,
that part is so weird to me, man.
I love it.
Did you guys read any of the?
I wanted a spider to crawl out of his fucking nose after that, or something. Even add something else.
Did you guys read any of the theories as to why the babies are there, or anything like that? So a lot of people are.
Go ahead.
A lot of people are theorizing that the babies are there because the way that. Like the reason that he cries here right after seeing that this baby is dead is because it means his friend who was killing himself can't be cloned back into that baby. And so his friend is literally dead now. And so that's why the babies exist and they keep them so close to themselves is because it's like the
it's a clone.
The clone of the people when they die lives on and they contain all their memories, etc. in that situation.
I love how confusing.
Go ahead.
I love how confusing stuff like this brings out everybody's like inner high school English teacher. Like, well, you see, in this scene, the curtains are red, which symbolizes the blood of the person in the scene. And so when he opens the curtains, it's like he's dying inside. You understand? And so I love it. It's so good. I love
when you watch The Godfather, oranges represent death.
Exactly.
Because when the Godfather gets shot, he spills oranges on the street. Like,
right. Exactly. Yeah. The bullets are a metaphor for intercourse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ko, what was it that you had heard about it? Because I'm interested in all the different theories.
So someone kind of went into it a little bit in chat, but one representation I heard is that the babies have something to do with innocence or kind of like whatever that world is involved in, that the people in it are for some reason being punished or chased.
It's the Eva thing, right?
Are like protected because they're not what's a good word for it? Marked yet, or they haven't grown up to the point where they can be taken or whatever it is by these things. And also that would kind of tie into the first trailer where that guy was out looking for these things. So, which is another theory that they had in that, is that they're what the people that have been taken go out and try to seek out these what. But again, I mean, this is so pie in the sky guessing that who even knows. But the point is, whatever it is, it's going to be cool. So, period.
Yeah, I'm thinking like the babies have to have some sort of like intelligence to them because that guy gave a thumbs up.
Not only that, dude. Okay. It's in his stomach now?
Yeah, like it's in his
so
goddamn
confusing.
intestines. Yeah, that was really weird. Yeah.
I don't know if you ever had a family planning course in your life, but that's how babies are made, Ko. You get a little alien capsule, you carry it around with you, and then the baby's born in your throat and you barf it up, and then baby.
Adam, no. That's why.
But I had a son, and I know for a fact that they're stork delivered. I saw it, came to it dropped off, and the little thing in it. So nice try. Right?
No. You're all wrong. That's only if you want to make a baby from a blowjob, because that's where it goes.
Right, of course.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Perfect. That was well done, Zeke.
I think that's a perfect note to take our first break or take our break. And when we come back, it's only going to get weirder because we're going to be talking about all the weeb stuff with Zeke and Adam talking Persona. I'll probably talk a little bit about Xenoblade because it's super spoilery and that whole fucking shenanigans.
I'm actually starting that next week. So.
Oh yeah. God. Okay. Well, we can talk a little bit about that, and then I don't know, whatever else news there is. So, don't go anywhere. We'll have more Drop Frames right after this break. We'll see you guys on the other side. See you then.